just start it because we can always edit this out.
Right, yeah. No,
Okay.
you just leave it in. Who cares?
Or we could leave it in.
It's not that professional.
Yeah. All right. Ready?
I guess.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Chris, a failed CEO. And my partner with me here is Jim, an aspiring Earthship dweller.
And builder.
And builder, yeah.
Well, aspiring.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Jim.
Hey, this is Jim, aspiring Earthship builder and dweller.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us what an Earthship is for the people that don't know. What is it? What
It's
is an
a
Earthship?
ship built out of the earth as opposed to trees.
You can be a little bit more descriptive than that.
Well, you can build a ship out of metal too, I
So you're
think.
telling me a spaceship is built out of space? No.
Um,
Let's be a little more descriptive.
Spaceships aren't real. That's not proof. Not definitive proof. But, okay, an Earthship.
Are you telling me Elon Musk is lying with SpaceX?
What I'm telling you is that's not a spaceship. That's an Earthship sent out to space.
Really?
It's an Earth ship built in Earth from Earth sent to space. Not a spaceship built in space sent to Earth or wherever.
Right. So now I'm confused because you aren't going to be living in a Falcon Heavy Earthship.
No, there's so many kinds of Earth ships. The specific one we're talking about is built with Earth.
Right. Yeah, the reason
Like dirt.
Jim enjoys the Earthships is because he likes sustainability
Yes.
and more independence. He doesn't want to be dependent upon the grid.
Yeah.
And with Earthships, they are
'Cause
built.
just control. Most of them are governmental control.
yeah, exactly. Government control. No, but they're built to be sustainable. They're made out of Earth. There's different ways to do them, but that's Jim's dream,
Yeah.
to live in an Earthship and be,
I mean,
and be
it's a
sustainable.
dream. It's not like my dream. People already have been doing it for decades.
Yeah, but it's a dream that you have.
No, it's just a desire that I have, but I don't dream about it. It's just it's still very utilitarian. It's not like there's no fantasy to it. There's no like drive to go, this is going to be incredible. It's just like it's going to be better than living in a different house,
Yeah,
like a normal house.
you just think,
That's
oh,
all.
this will be cool.
It would be good. It would be cool, but it'd also be good.
Yeah,
But there's still limitations that make it inferior in certain ways, like design and stuff. And
you're limited on design.
yeah,
'Cause it's gotta be in the earth.
Aesthetically, mostly. I mean, it's just you can't build the same way.
Yeah, you're limited because it has to be built in the Earth. And let's be honest, the Earth is only so big. What, 24,000 miles circumference?
Well, yeah,
About.
and
It's not enough space.
that's
for
that's surface area and one line.
you. That's what I'm saying. Circumference.
I'm right, but I mean, I don't even know what the surface area is, like square footage wise. But we're not even talking volume.
Square
of the Earth,
footage,
'cause you
not
can-
square miles.
Oh yeah,
Or
I
square
can't
kilometers
I can't
for
do
our,
that. That's
our-
too much math.
Or non-American.
The bigger number, the better. Anyway, square inch if you want. But there's also volume.
Square
You can dig
centimeter.
into the earth and build as well,
Yeah. To hit the
not
core.
just on top.
That's what Dwayne the Rock Johnson
Yeah,
did.
but they're
Turned it into
highly
City of the Earth.
insulated, and they're actually very highly seismic resistant, or whatever the term is.
No,
for
I
that.
think that's good. Seismic resistant. They didn't necessarily resist, but it handles it well. Handles it really well.
It does resist it. It resists seismic
It becomes
activity.
a part of it. Oh wow! You know what I
That's
saw? I watched
true.
a video of you're really big. That obnoxious noise that you just heard is Jim devouring some nerds right now. This is going to be the beginning of our short ASMR segment. Go ahead, Jim. Take it over.
Hi everybody, welcome to the ASMR section of my podcast. Just take in some of these nerds and some of my saliva and everything. It's just really comforting. You just guys relax and sit back and just enjoy.
All right, that's enough.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for that short ASMR segment, Jim. So I saw a video of Jim and I talk about a lot of different things on the podcast, and not on the podcast, but in real life, we talk about a lot of different things. And one of the big things that we talk about is Lifecast. Yeah, one of the big things we talk about is different sources of energy outside of fossil fuels.
Is now the time to try to define this podcast for people, or we'll get to that in a few podcasts, maybe when we find out?
Yeah, right now we don't really know because it's kind of all over the place.
It'll always be
We
all over
don't.
the place.
It will always be all over the place because that's how our conversations go. But the podcast, I mean, we can sort of try and define it, where basically we just talk about whatever we're interested in.
Yeah, it's more like a free-flowing, interest-based conversation without, like, big names of people coming on.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan if you want to come on, or Elon Musk if you want to come on, or who's your other hero?
My other hero? I don't have many heroes.
Yeah, right.
You had
no, Magnus Carlsen if you want to come on.
Oh, okay.
World-renowned chess player.
Yeah. World-renowned, world champion chess player.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to disparage.
Although at the moment
hero.
he is second in Blitz
for now,
or is it Rapid? He lost. Yeah.
All right, we kind of diverged from what we're talking about. So yeah, the podcast is basically about things that we're interested in, things that we want to talk about. We hope you're interested in them too.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because y'all don't have input.
What Jim means is we're the ones in control because we have the mic. What he doesn't realize is you guys are also in control because you don't have to listen.
Yeah, but and that doesn't matter anyway.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so I watched a video of a fusion reactor where they were trying to create fusion energy. Okay, you with me? Everybody get ready because Jim's about to devour some nerds again.
I'll pull it. I'll do it away from the mic.
All right, yeah. Thank you.
Step on my hear it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, definitely hear it still. That's okay.
Let's put him
in. Yeah. then you just crunch. Yeah, we'll get you a bowl so that you can eat them, and then you just crunch them right in the mic. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, for like the third or fourth time, I watched this video of a fusion reactor. Is that what it's called? A fusion reactor?
I think the reactor is the thing itself. Fusion
is the form of energy that you're trying to produce. Okay. So anyway,
I'm not a scientist.
Well, okay. So, but the video they were talking about how they pretty much I don't know if they collided them, but they took two hydrogen molecules. Is that what it is? They collide them?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's how they're trying to do it. I know with like those big colliders, this big.
Like the hadron colliders.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is similar but a little different.
Yeah.
This one was altered.
I'm assuming there's different ways to fuse.
Well, this one was altered. A lot of times those hadron colliders are meant for like particle research.
Yeah.
The fusion reactor, though, it's obviously meant to research fusion-based energy. So they took two hydrogen molecules, okay, like the lightest molecules, or lightest elemental molecules, and kind of merged them together to create this form of energy, which apparently lasts nanoseconds. So they have nanoseconds to gather all this different kind of information. But what I wanted to mention was whenever they do pour this energy into it, they said it creates a seismic wave where in the building, and even buildings that are like a mile away can feel it, where the guy said that the scientist said that the floor rolls from the center point. And so they showed a video of whenever they did one of the reactions, and it did. It you see,
and this is just from two
hydrogen molecules. Yeah. They said that the amount of energy that's output is 100 times more than the input that's required.
Yeah, it's just controlling that.
Yeah, it's controlling it and so sustaining it so that it doesn't last nanoseconds.
Yes, that's also not just a detonated bomb that just...
Yeah, that blows up everything.
Not everything. Just what it's meant to blow up.
Well, okay, yeah. And what it's not meant to blow up. Like all the people?
Yeah. I was going to say a specific people, but it doesn't matter which people they are.
Yeah. So in Florida, there was a, get this, 463-pound alligator in the freeway, 12 feet long.
That's pretty big.
not only is it pretty big.
No, I don't get up close and personal with them, so I don't know the difference between 400 and whatever normal is.
Yeah, but you've seen a 300-pound man, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's 2 of those.
How is 400 something 300 pounds?
It's a loose estimate.
Okay, but you're giving like 50% more.
What are you? All right, so you weigh 200 pounds.
200.
It's 2 1/4 of you.
Right. That's not that big.
All right, so that's not that big. Whatever.
I mean, it's an animal. It's 12 feet long.
It's 12 feet long.
I'm not even 6 feet tall.
463 pounds, bro.
Makes sense.
Alligators aren't normally 463 pounds.
Oh, I'm just saying I'm not even 6 foot. So if it's twice as long as me, that makes sense. Over twice as long as me.
If it's over twice as long as you, it should be over twice as heavy as you.
Heavy as me.
I get the logic there.
Yeah, maybe it's a little overweight.
I don't know if it translates. So the important thing about the story is it got hit by a semi-truck.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what
survived.
happened? Uh-huh.
However, it didn't really fare too well.
Is it an ICU?
It's no longer in anything now. Yeah, what happened is the semi-truck apparently was trying to cross the road. Imagine that. Reptiles just really like to do that. Turtles.
Yeah, but there's certain places you're supposed to do it.
Crosswalks.
It's people mostly, but things are relegated to specific places where safety is the priority for getting them across the road, like crosswalks.
Yeah, not on a Tallahassee freeway.
But I'm saying that's the fault of the alligator for not making his way down.
I thought you were gonna say the fault of the engineers. Yeah, I got you. You're blaming the animal. So what happened was the alligator got hit by this semi-truck, crushed like half of its head. So then what happened is the alligator, I guess, was still trying to cross the road, but it ended up just going in circles. So it backed up this freeway for hours because they had to call animal control.
Right side of its brain was broken, and so it could only take right-handed turns with the left side of its brain because it didn't know how to use the other side.
So. Is that how reptile brains work too?
Don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know if they have 2 sides of the brain.
Yeah, this is probably a really good time to say also, we will throw out a lot of facts that are true. We'll also make a lot of statements that are not true. The game is for you to discern.
Well, it doesn't have to be a game. Most of what I'm going to say is completely uneducated.
Yeah, okay, that's probably a better way to say it. Not that it's not true, it's just uneducated.
Yeah.
Therefore, it could be not true.
It may happen to be true, and that's really cool when it is.
Yeah.
But you guys can just write us and let us know if you can figure out where to write us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or send us a tweet or whatever the other stuff is.
Figure out how to do all that, yeah.
Well, I don't have any of those, but you can send them out and maybe they'll get to us.
Yeah,
as much as we're saying on a podcast and maybe it gets to you.
Jim doesn't have any social media. I don't either. And
is this a form of social media?
Not really.
Not really.
No, not social.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, this is as much as like you send out teaching and stuff. You're not always getting the feedback.
Yeah, I don't think this wouldn't be considered. If it is a type of social media, it's not like one of the big ones, one of the big 3 or 4. Yeah. So anyway, back to this alligator story. Yeah. So what happened with it is they call a wrangler, where this is his job, is literally just to wrangle alligators.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and it took him a couple hours to get this joker wrangled up, and he tried to save it, but ended up not being able to.
He's also like
so he had to put it down.
Alligator paramedic.
Yeah, he rehabilitates them and puts them back into the wild or wherever. Apparently, if they're over a certain size, they have to be put down if they can't find a zoo or like a.
Because they're too dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
In nature,
they're too dangerous.
But too dangerous to go back to nature where he got that big in the first place.
No, they're too dangerous to leave nature and go into urban environments like a Tallahassee freeway.
But
and back up traffic for 3
naturally got
hours.
that big.
Yeah.
But we won't allow nature, once it like crosses that threshold of what we deem as
that's part of nature.
Then we should just okay.
Fun fact. This is actually true too. Alligators won't stop growing.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, they don't stop growing. If as long what actually usually kills massive alligators is one, people, and two, they can't find enough food to be able to feed themselves. So if they could find enough food to continue to eat and feed themselves, they could grow much larger than we see them.
There's a crap ton of like antelope and zebras. I don't know why they don't get them.
I don't think alligators are in Africa.
Cousins.
I think it's crocodiles, right?
Crocodile cousins. That's what my son said.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is they have to be able to catch them. And once they get so big like that, once they get, you're talking, if an alligator gets like, or crocodile, whatever one, yeah, if it gets like 17 feet long, 15 feet long, which is already massive, lived a long life, they get really slow. So they gotta stay in the water.
It's time to die anyway.
I don't know if it's time to die, but.
I mean, if they die, then it's time to die.
Okay, yeah. That's a very loose way. Nature. Very loose way.
If nature let them get that big, then nature decided it's time for them to die.
You think that's what it is?
Mother Nature.
What about Brother Nature? Have you heard of this guy?
No.
Brother Nature. He's on. Well, you don't have social media, so you probably wouldn't know.
You can tell me though.
Yeah, I will. He is kind of like a guy who has kindled these relationships with all these different kinds of animals. He's just got a way of interacting with animals. It started out with these deer that would come in his backyard, and he named the deer, and like would feed them like fruit and like bananas and apples and everything like that. And so he got really famous from feeding these deer that would always come over, and he would make little comedy videos with them. Like he put a chain on one of the deer, and it was funny.
That's not funny. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, so he's famous. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Brother Nature, Mother Nature, same thing.
I don't know him. Like what's okay? I don't. What famous is that? Maybe it's semantics. It doesn't
Maybe
matter.
it is semantics. Semantics. It's probably tough because like he's social media famous, so it's different. It absolutely means something. People make money off that now.
Yes, buckets, I suppose dude. if you're making money off of that fame, then you're famous.
Yeah, like if you make any kind of money, you're instantly famous.
Yeah.
Like people who win the lottery, they become famous.
Yes,
a lot of them lose it.
There
and
are
they fall off, but
some states where you don't have to tell people that you're the winner.
Yeah, Tennessee is one of those. I think.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can do it anonymous. Oh, South Carolina is one as well. I think.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know those states very well.
Yeah.
But
you've lived in both. But
we'll edit that out.
You don't want people tracking your steps.
You know why I'm not on social media? The government already knows
government
everything
control,
about me.
Yeah.
So I don't want the public to know everything about me.
Right. You only want them to know what you want them to know.
I don't want them to know anything necessarily. That's why a lot of what I'm saying is not necessarily anything.
So speaking about nature, little pivot point. I read this article that said children were starting to develop a horn on their head.
You read an article? Did you see any pictures or video evidence of this?
Yeah, I saw a photo of it. Showed an X-ray.
How many kids?
One. It was one X-ray.
Oh, okay. That's the proof.
No, but what it is apparently it's becoming a little bit more common. It's from technology. From kids always looking at cell phones and iPads and everything else. And they're always looking down at their phone. And so what's happened is they equate it to sort of like how a callus builds up on your hands or your feet from something that's getting worn over time.
Why would a horn form on your head, though?
So it's on the back of your head. On the back of your head, above your neck.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably should have gave the context of where the horn was at.
You.
Yeah, not like a devil horn or anything like that.
Near a joint or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were talking about like at birth. Like kids are being born with horns now because of evolutionary consequences or something. Like that's just.
I mean, maybe eventually.
Part of it. That's what I'm saying. I was like, well, I just wanted to know the proof that this is now like rampant.
Yeah, I don't know if rampant is the word, but it's becoming more common. Like smaller children, not babies, but smaller children are it's being seen on them.
I see.
And they're having these growths that look similar to a horn
Right.
if it were to kind of grow out and
Right.
down, like a little hook almost, out of
Yeah.
the back of your
Gotcha.
head,
Yep.
down towards your neck. Because they said when you're looking down like that, especially at a young age, when your muscles and your bones and everything's everything's not fully developed yet, everything is still developing. It puts a strain on that area from the muscles pulling differently and everything like that. And so this bone, it's almost like a bone spur, I guess, that kind of develops. And it looks like a horn.
I don't know.
That grows on these kids' heads.
The transition was fair then. That's not necessarily nature.
It's not.
I mean, that's us manipulating nature. We can make nature do a lot of things. That's not really nature. Like, if it wasn't for man, that might not ever happen.
Man's not a part of nature.
Well, but if it wasn't for our...
Not natural, you're saying.
Yeah, if it wasn't for our ingenuity and how we do things that go against nature, nature wouldn't do that.
You're saying, you're defining nature as something like the biome, like the biological things outside of human...
Sort of evolutionary process. It happens through natural consequences, not through intellectual ones necessarily.
Maybe there's not that big of a difference.
Maybe that's an argument. Also, about what really is evolutionary, what it really is natural. Is AI natural?
No. It's literally in the name artificial.
Sure. But how we name something is irrelevant to whether it's actually a consequence of how nature works.
Yeah.
Because if it comes from us, which is the source of nature, and that intellect,
it's all from a natural being, you're saying.
Where did that
part
intellect come from in the first place? There was
yeah.
natural flow to that, if that's what you believe.
Yeah.
That's obviously, if you're the evolutionary person. So I'm just saying.
Hot button topic.
That's not a hot button topic.
Okay.
That's just a topic.
Yeah.
It's really just two sides.
Yeah.
Well, there's two sharp sides and then maybe intermingling.
It's a very binary way of thinking, Jim. No, but yeah, I thought it was interesting that they started seeing this in these children. You have Jim has 4 kids.
Yeah,
right?
I have 4.
I have a baby on the way. Thank you for the celebration.
Well, nobody's gonna celebrate until the baby's born.
Why?
They'll say congratulations.
Maybe.
There's a lot of reasons why. Some are morbid, but
yeah.
But no, if you haven't held the baby and seen it and touched it, it's not that big a deal.
See, so Jim
Trust
here's
me,
a dad shamer. He's saying I'm not a dad yet because my baby's not out of the womb.
No, what I'm saying is that maybe that's true. But what I'm saying is that you'll realize the stark difference between the night before it's born and that moment when you hold it and see it, and it's like, holy crap.
No,
and not just this is real, but this is it's there's the physical contact. There's so much going on, so much stimulus or stimuli that's happening that you never ever have experienced.
Yeah, I understand. I'm definitely on the same page with you. I get it. I just wanted to get your opinion because you do have 4 young kids. All of your kids are under the age of 4.
No,
right?
My son is 4.
All your kids are under the age of 5.
4 and under.
Correct. Yeah, 4. Well,
if you want to use,
he's like 4 in what, 3 months?
If you want to use the number 4 because it's 4 and 4,
yeah,
it sounds worse.
Your oldest son is what, like 56 months?
I'm not that fast at math.
54 months.
4.5. So
okay.
54 months.
54 months.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, but you got young kids, and I mean,
4,
obviously
3,
technology.
almost 4 months.
Yeah. All right. Stop bragging.
Some people wouldn't think that's a brag. Brag, burden, same thing.
Brag, burden, blessing. It's all the same. All wrapped up in one. No, but you've got younger kids, and obviously like technology, phones.
You've
iPads,
got
all
an
that stuff.
even younger kid.
Yeah, that's very true, Jim. Thank you for saying that.
The same. Okay.
No, but what do you think about that? Like, how do you as a parent deal with that thought that technology is having that large of an impact, even on the physiology of young children who aren't even developed? Not even, because a lot of times the talk is about is about the mental and emotional effects that it can have, like developmentally. But like now they're thinking that there are actually like physiological. Yeah, thanks. Physiological issues that could be developing. Like, what do you care?
Yes.
Okay.
I care for the simple fact of that only happens from what I would term as abuse.
You're saying they're using it too much.
Absolutely. Because I think that anytime something starts to radically alter you, whether it's psychologically or physically, it's because you have gone to an extreme when it's not meant to.
Like a dependency.
Maybe not meant to, something where maybe it was meant to be like that. But the danger is that you can no longer function the way you should be able to function, or at the fullest.
Right.
Because you're allowing something. And technology, which I'm not a huge part of growing up, in the 90s, and I didn't have a phone, and I didn't really have a computer. And
Jim is on the bubble of barely being a millennial.
I was born in 84. I don't think that's a bubble.
No, I think that's like where it starts.
No.
It's not?
It's Generation X, dude.
When does millennial start?
It starts much later.
Okay,
like 90s.
So this is the thing. That's what
By
I've
bubble,
always believed.
There's a... Oh, okay, so people say it's different?
People say that millennials are from 80... It's either 84 or 86 up to, I think it was 98.
To be clear, before millennials was ever talked about, we already were designated with a letter as Generation X. So it does, like, people are just changing it on the fly now.
Right.
That's not how it works.
See, that's what I thought. I wouldn't consider you as being... You're 34. You'll be 35 this year.
Yep.
Congratulations. In a little over a month, right?
Well, yep.
Yeah, July 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same day, same birthday as his daughter, which is really cool. Interesting. But I would never have considered you to be a millennial. Maybe some people do who are your age do consider themselves to be millennials. You're saying it's false. It's wrong.
Well, that's what's the word?
Opinion?
No. But we're trying to be cool. What's the word?
Oh, because millennials
what is that
are
called?
I don't know.
You're fake.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Where you're fake, where you're I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't help you out.
But
there.
you do it just to be cool.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah.
It's like when people say they have ADHD because it's cool.
Yeah, I got you.
Or it seems like it's cool.
I got you. Yeah. So, okay, cool. So you consider yourself to not be a millennial. I am a millennial. I'm 26. But anyway, so back to this thing of so you didn't like grow up with a whole lot, not the technology that we have today.
Not even close.
Yeah, not even close. Yeah. Like, did you have internet?
Eventually. But I mean, when I assumed growing up, I would assume like your early to mid portion, not like 16, 17. Like, I get that there's still a lot of development and stuff, but you've already passed a period where you are engaging in activity that's really becoming who you are.
You're talking about whenever you were younger. This is how it was.
Yes. So yeah, I had internet, but not when I was 9. Not when I was 8.
Or 4.
But definitely not when I was 4. Which my son is 4, has a phone with internet, who can go on YouTube and whatever, or they can watch movies. Well, I guess you watch movies when I was younger.
This is something that is fascinating to me. So Jim has a daughter. How old is Bella? 2?
Bella's no.
Not even
she's
2.
Same birthday. So she's 23 months. Almost 23 months.
She's almost 2. Okay, so she's going to be 2 next month.
23 months.
Sorry, dude. Sorry. My bad. So she's going to be 2 next month, okay? 24 months, sorry. 24 months next month, okay?
Yeah, she'll be 2.
But she's I believe, Jim's smartest child. She's incredibly smart.
Don't let the other ones hear that.
Well, if they find this podcast.
Well, they wouldn't care anyway.
Exactly. They don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't really like me. Bella's the only one that likes me anyway. So, a little bit biased. But it's fascinating for me to watch her as a not even 23-month-old be able to go on your phone and be on YouTube and scroll through videos.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
Yeah, go to YouTube and pick a video that she wants to watch. If she's tired of watching it, she'll close it out and pick another video. That is fascinating to me. I'm always impressed by that.
See, there's the fascination with going, oh, they're learning something I never learned, which would probably be a part of their future, which is the main kind of real dialogue there of how important are these things for them. Because let's be honest, that's the future. Like, technology always is the future.
Unless we get hit by an EMP.
Yeah. Although that's not always permanent anyway.
And it lasts permanently.
Well, I don't know how
electromagnetic
you make it last permanently.
Well,
how do you do that?
I don't know.
Technology.
Yeah, exactly. Catch-22.
Yeah. It's just the cycle. It starts over again. But there's this place of, I don't even say balance, but there's a place of trying to understand this can be good for them and it can be detrimental to them. Mm-hmm. And when you look at kids of a certain age, how big of a deal social media is to them and how destructive it can be also to their psyche, to their emotional stability. And I'm not even talking about that with my kids because my kids aren't on social media. But it's being ingrained to them that this is just absolutely... So, like, when they don't have their phone, they freak out. Or not their phone, because I definitely haven't got them a phone yet.
Yeah.
Even though people do. Whatever, that's fine. But when they, like, their mama's phone, and they don't have it, they freak out. They get upset. Because...
Already?
Yeah, because they feel like they should have the right. Or
they're
they
entitled
feel like
to
they do have the right, yeah. And that's probably throughout nature... the next generation, as things develop, they can become more entitled to certain things you never were.
Absolutely, like air conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't feel that.
So what do you do with that?
I don't know. That's the point. That's the conversation.
That's what you're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Learning on
the fly. I don't keep them from not having the phone. And I think about, like, the more they learn how a phone works, the more they learn how to use it in functions that aren't just watching videos.
Right.
The more I think that can be positive.
You mean like games?
Yeah, games. yeah. No, but understanding the process of what it's doing and using that to build on, like, educationally how to apply these.
Yeah, understanding that you have the knowledge of the whole world at your fingertips.
That's for sure. See, there's a huge benefit. You can complain about things that are dangerous, like social media is dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be, I should say.
Can be, yeah.
But with that comes things that have never been able to happen because of connection and communication.
Just looking at social media as a microcosm, it is extremely dangerous because of cyberbullying and people having self-esteem issues and all of these things.
Or,
and
like,
yet at the same time,
porn and stuff.
Well, porn too. But at the same time, people have made careers out of social media now.
That's true.
And it's literally created an entirely new industry.
Yes.
For a completely new generation that was not there before.
Yes.
So just looking at that as a microcosm, it's the same thing with, the whole of technology, where you have access to all of this information that you can really do something with, but that's at the same time, they're 4 and under. So at what point do you expect them to start getting a grasp of those things? Like, how do you knowing that and knowing the potential of what using the phone can be, as in not just being something that you can soothe yourself with, but being something that you can actually grow and develop and learn and educate yourself with.
I think really you're gonna, the answer might be way more spiritual, philosophical. Mm-hmm. It's really making sure what's ingrained in them is what's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not based on their value system, but based on a whole of an understanding of where I might stand morally, and things like that, of what's important as far as people really in life.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, right now we're in, I wouldn't say crisis, but in a kind of a pivot point on whether or not the agricultural market and stuff is going to radically change again.
You're talking about the industry itself.
Yeah, because people don't want to do that. But it's always vital to man to have food.
You're talking about the lack of farmers. How
yes,
farmers are, there's less and less farmers now
Not
than
only
there have ever been.
Is there less farmers, but there's more big farmers who are mass producing stuff, corporate and processing, and it's way less healthy. So there's things like that nobody ever thinks about. Nobody wants to go farming because tech is cooler or it's more fun or any of those things. When that's right, in a way, I get that. But
it's also more money.
But because people desire it.
Right.
It's just that's what I'm saying. That's what happens when you allow something to completely alter how a whole generation functions.
When the pendulum swings too far.
It already has, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's what it looks like. Whenever it begins to swing too far, then there's something that has to come in to mitigate that.
Yeah.
So that's the question: is how do you think as a parent?
You cut it all the way off and say no. Let's just go back, but then like you lose a lot. Or what you do is you stymie, or you what's the word?
Repress.
Not
suppress.
Yeah, you suppress like their ability to stay with the times, I guess, as you would.
I see.
That they won't go into their 20s needing a job or wanting to do something and be a little bit behind because you said, I don't want that to be a part of it. Now they have what would have been an easier time to learn when they're younger. Now they have to try to push that in.
Because you're saying stymieing their use of technology when they're younger could hinder them as they get older.
Right. Because it's still, I think it's good that it's part of what's going on in a lot of things in business, but it's not what makes us who we are. And a lot of people, that's how they use it now.
Right.
That's the difference.
It's easy to define them.
Yeah. So if you stay at the core of who they are early and then allow it to be a kind of a slow process into whatever, and you're slowly building on, or allowing them to slowly build on what they know and what they do with it, it never becomes something that's them. They use it as an extension. It's not, that ever
they don't become wrapped up
obsessed,
in it.
Ever involved. Yeah, thing where if it's one thing or another, it changes the way they feel and think about stuff.
But what do you
or
think?
They're controlled by it, media and stuff like that too.
What do you think is the point as a parent, going back to all your children are under 4,
4 and under.
Yes, sorry, 4 and under. Yeah, my bad. They are all 4 and under, and they love using your guys' phones to watch. I'm assuming all they do is watch videos, right? Do they play games yet?
No,
they just watch videos.
Yeah, they only watch YouTube.
So at what point, which I have a lot in common with them because that's all I watch.
Yeah.
But so at what point do you think? I don't necessarily know how to phrase it, but when do you think you want to start seeing a shift in that? Or do you think, let me ask you this, do you think you'll naturally see a shift in your children from the use of technology as being something that is for purely for entertainment purposes, like videos and games and social media? Do you think you'll naturally see them begin to move into something that is more educational, where they just read articles or watch videos that teach them something that doesn't just occupy their time and their mind? Like, for example, we use the internet when we watch videos. We're learning something most of the time now as adults. And
see, that's the difference something. Is because what that stuff is doing, all those different forms of media is doing to them, is forming their opinions for them, forming their desires for them. That's the danger. So they're following whatever is in the mainstream, as opposed to people who came into it already have all these things based on what they had to, whether learn, or they just had nothing else to do, so they found out what they wanted to learn or enjoy on their own through trying.
So you're saying it's almost self-fulfilling in a way?
Yeah, so we take our desires and use it to match it. They're taking that to fill desires.
They're still finding what their desires are.
I think that's the real issue, is that until they're formed and who they are, it allows those things, I don't want to say manipulate, but some people will use it to do that.
Yeah, it can.
But it definitely allows that
heavy
source to influence how they're going to think and what they want to do. when like everybody wants to be a social media construct in a way. Everybody wants to have all the whatever it is they do. But like if they were to not have that, and when they turn 22 or whatever, they might have a completely different desire because of really what it is that it's in them, and it's not based on other people. It's not based on what people have told them is good or bad or important or not important.
Right. And the thing too is also we're always changing. Like me now at 26, completely different than I was when I was 4.
Right.
But also I'm completely different than I was when I was 20. You know,
right?
I was still an adult at 20. I was in college at 20. Now I'm out of college, still an adult, thankfully. But I'm completely different. My interests are different. The things that I talk about and read about, they're different. And as a child, especially when you're that young, honestly, dude, I didn't become like completely comfortable in myself and independent until after I was out of high school. My senior year in high school was when I really started to become comfortable with myself, but I was still really self-conscious and really I just cared about what other people thought about me too much. And it wasn't until honestly I got out of high school, I started living on my own. I was by myself, living on my own and taking care of myself, that I started to become obviously more independent in my living situation, but also more independent in my thinking, to where those things didn't affect me as much. And I think that goes to your point of especially children all the way up through that time of the age that your kids are, elementary school, middle school, even high school.
When did social media and stuff like that become a part of your life? How old were you?
I have never really been a super big proponent of social media.
Well, what I mean though is when did that become culturally?
Probably, I knew kids that I had friends that had MySpace when I was in middle school.
Yeah, okay, MySpace, I don't count that one.
No, you have to count that. That was the beginning.
Yes.
That was the first one that really kind of took over, was in... Everybody had a MySpace page. Yeah.
So in a way, and that didn't last the way they would have thought. It definitely didn't have the influence like Facebook has and stuff. But so we're still talking about you as a person who lived half your life before that became a way to influence. What we're saying now for my kids is such absolutely. A different revelation they'll have to come to, because they have not had a life where that wasn't not only a part of it, but one of the biggest factors of social interaction.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the point,
where it's
though.
like, I don't know how to function that way, so I don't even know how to think.
Well, they almost don't have the availability of creating their own identity, like in and of themselves, and finding their true interests without being influenced by literally the world.
Yeah, I'm not worried about like sheltering them. I'm just worried about, because I'm not worried about them getting hurt necessarily. That's part of it.
Right.
What I'm worried about is their idea of the importance of those things.
Yes. You want it to be a healthy relationship that they have with those things.
Yeah, because I'm not for bullying, but when bullying happens, in the past, you dealt with it a different way, and people didn't always deal with it the right way. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying the way I would want is, if it happens, then they come to me where there is security, where there is an understanding of who they are, because I've put that into them, or I've allowed them through me to figure out for themselves.
That's why you're teaching your son how to box, right?
I don't teach him how to box. I don't really know how to box. I just want him to kind of understand mechanics and
I'm joking.
But
dude.
Yeah. That's the difference. Bully issue, so it's not removing it from their life to act as though it's not something, but allowing it where I can see it's not an influence, it's just a part of how they live.
Yeah.
And when it does go, oh no, this is an issue. We have to focus on other things. And that's part of that is, how you're refraining the time or what they're able to watch.
Right.
And or maybe just cut it out, which I think a lot of people do that. It's healthy too, even just cut it out.
Yeah, having a time where
period,
it's
and then
cut
after
off.
That, just cut it off.
Yeah.
But that can be hard to do, especially because there's so much in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Joe Rogan, he talks about this a little bit where, first of all, I don't want to be one of these podcasts where all we do is talk about other podcasts, but this is it attributes to our point.
It is the best podcast, so anybody can talk about it.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal podcast. He's the GOAT.
Literally thousands of listeners.
Yes, literally tens of thousands of listeners. At least. No, but he talks about this, about how at his house, whenever they get home, he doesn't allow his kids to use their cell phones.
Right.
And their friends come over, or his kids' friends come over, and they tell him, "Hey, yeah, we don't use phones here at home after school whenever we're all together, because they want to enjoy that time as a family." And he said that her friends are always like, "What?" and like look at him like weird, and like it's, I don't know, it becomes so strange to not have that with you all the time. But he said eventually, after 30 minutes or so, they start to talk with each other and laugh and have fun and play and joke around. He says, whereas before, if they were to come over, they'd all just be sitting on their phones together, not talking.
It's the thing. It's that point where when you remove something, it shows how important it is to their function. Yeah. As a human.
Yes.
As opposed to just what is a part. Like if you remove a car from them, it the value of that drastically shifts in their mind, because now it's so much more difficult.
Right.
But a car only serves one simple utilitarian purpose of getting from point A to point, which you can do other ways. It's just easier.
Unless it's a Tesla.
But still, it just makes it easier mostly.
Yeah.
But there's fun in it too. But I mean, it really serves a huge purpose. Utilitarian value is its main purpose. It's 90% of it.
Right.
But not social media, not TVs and phones. That's not its purpose.
And this is the thing. Obviously we're talking about children a lot, just because Jim's are young and mine's even younger.
The youngest of this group.
Of all of them. Obviously this happens with adults as well.
It's like what, -5 months right now? -4 months.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think.
He's young.
I think so. Yeah, very young, very young. But obviously this happens with adults too. Adults still struggle with those things. But that's the thing. If you can kind of nip that in the bud when they're younger, perhaps they're able to have those moments of I don't know, maybe clarity is the term for it, of identifying and separating themselves from social media and that type of environment with who they actually want to be, who they really are. And to be fair, that's what some people want. Some people want to be wrapped up in that type of environment.
Yeah,
but it's not true.
And maybe that's that's all I have.
I don't know that it's healthy all the time, though.
Well, one of the things is that's why restriction is so valuable.
Yes,
and that's why boundaries are so valuable. And a lot of it is not just to remove something for the sake of removing because you don't like what's influence.
Right.
It's to channel other things that are more productive to the development. Because when my son turns, let's be honest, even 16 probably, he's mostly going to have every idea that he thinks he wants to have. I'm not saying he won't be influenced, but he's really going to be set in a lot of ways that he thinks he wants to function. And that's why it gets so difficult at that age, because he feels like he knows what needs to be done and he doesn't even come close.
You're starting to reach the age of where you feel like you can be independent and you want to be independent,
but in reality,
you're still not there yet.
Not in reality. Let's be honest. Everybody knows you're not there at all.
Yeah, there are decisions that if I were 16, I would make, whereas now, a decade later, I would. No, that's the dumbest decision ever.
But you're way more productive now. Those decisions you make now are so much. So that's the point of the restrictions or whatever, allowing it, not just removing, even if you want to, for the benefit of the future, so that when those things come back in, they've already been channeled towards who they are, and those things can't actually break that apart.
I think that's one of the things too, is now as an adult, I am much more interested in developing myself and growing myself. So the things that I do, I always try to be extremely intentional in those things, of am I growing from this? Is this something that's helping me grow? Whereas at that age, it's just all about being entertained. It's all about occupying time. It's not necessarily about growing and developing myself, because you don't necessarily see the world that way. You don't think about things that way. You don't honestly even see the value of time at that point.
Yeah, you take for granted the things that are naturally occurring at a rapid pace in a way.
Absolutely.
And when you get to much older, when most of that development, if not all of it, has stopped in your mid-20s, or for me, 34, it's all stopped.
Are you talking about physically?
And mentally. What? I mean, like, the brain development and stuff. All those things of, like...
Your physical brain development, not necessarily what you can learn.
Correct. Okay. I'm talking about actual physical physiology development. Okay. Yeah. Not learning, not even growth in my cellular... well, not cellular, but in a nervous system and stuff. Like, those things can still be developed and grow.
Your body is fully formed.
Muscle can be grown too. But yes, as far as, like, actual development of...
Yeah, functionally.
Yeah. You take for granted because it's such a natural part of... You've only known that that's how everything happens.
Right.
You don't know depletion. You don't know the negative of that.
Right.
Things start to maybe deteriorate. Even when you hit 20, you don't even understand that's a reality.
Right.
That's why you still act in certain ways as though that doesn't have an effect.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maturation allows you to...
I think that's what it is. It's not even necessarily the depletion or the deficiency of certain things as you get older, because I don't believe that has to happen. But it's the maturation that you reach whenever you hit a certain age. And obviously life experience helps with a lot of these things as well. But whenever you hit that maturation point, and I don't think there's just one. I think there's multiple maturation points that you hit that develop you in different ways than you were 5 years or a decade ago, based on experiences that you've had or things that you've learned, just the person that you're becoming.
There are turning points throughout where people, I mean, you take any person who's done anything, they probably can go to one or two, or also, I mean, a lot of them just that one specific where it literally changed everything.
Right.
And everything led to that too. But
right.
yeah.
Right.
And you don't think about those things when you're a kid.
You don't. And part of it too is a lot of times, honestly, there's no need to. You don't have to. Right. You're not in a position where you have to.
It is an experiential phase, and that's the point. Learning is not necessarily about growth because it happens. It's about experiencing to find out who you are in a way.
It's about having fun and
yeah. When children grow, you want them to play. You want them to draw. You want them to do whatever it is. And if they don't like that, they do something else. You want them to do all these things because you want them to enjoy. That's what it means to be alive, or should.
Yeah.
And if you never get that, then you become something else, maybe even worse at times, where you're just robotic, where you're just a function of society, that you just play a role.
Right.
And I think you're not an individual. And so
I think that's the thing is finding that point of where you're balancing the responsibility of things with the enjoyment and experience of things. And that's really, I mean, that's what, as a child, when you're growing up, that's what you're trying to figure out. And you're still doing it as an adult.
And that's why, when you talk about my kids watching, that's why that is my job right now.
Right.
And it's very difficult.
You get paid really well.
It's one of those, it's funny because especially now, and when your kids are parents, it'll be even harder because things will be developing so quickly. They'll be out of their zone from when they're kids 2 to when they're kids 4. And they're like, I have no idea. I don't even know what this technology is called anymore. It's difficult when you don't have that experience to understand how to use those things and how not to use them. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a 4-year-old and do what he does. I don't know how it develops him. I can look at evidence of what we see and whatever, but like nobody actually knows now what a 4-year-old looks like when he's 16, when they've been, because even kids who are 16 did not have a phone in front of them for 16 years.
Right. I didn't get a phone until I was born in 1992. Not the way
we have them. At least like an iPhone and stuff.
All my friends had phones in middle school. They had the brick phones, those brick Nokias,
which like, you can do very little.
Could survive a nuclear blast. And I never had one. My parents never let me get one. I become a freshman in high school. I finally convinced my parents, look, I'm in high school. I'm going to be doing extracurricular activities. I need a phone so that I can just call you guys to let you know when you can come pick me up and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
I never did any extracurricular activities. I wanted a friggin' phone.
Right.
Like, I wasn't doing any
course.
sports because I was so shy and, like, in myself. I wasn't about to do any of those things that would put me in any kind of public eye. And I just wanted a cell phone. And I finally got a flip phone.
Yeah, you play that snake game where you eat the little balls and it like grows you and you have to not eat yourself. Or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
About it.
Those were the games that were on phones, and now you've got full on like games, video games on phones now, and so it's just a different world, and it's crazy how quickly it's happened, how quickly it's changed.
Exactly.
That's the crazy thing, and that's to your point of it'll be so different when our children's children are
How do you navigate
young.
that if you've never even seen the map? You know,
You stay on the ball, man. You stay hip and young.
right. What's the word for that when you're trying to do that?
Yeah, it's
What do you call those people?
people who adapt.
No, dude. No, they're fakes. Nobody ever respects them for being that way. They just think they are.
No, I think it's just one of those things of I mean, you just be true to yourself. At a certain point, there are things that become necessary and so integral to society that it almost becomes natural to learn how to use those things. But I say that as a young person. It could not be that way for somebody who's in their 80s who still doesn't know how to use an email, you know?
Right.
Like, they don't know how to
learn to code.
I worked at a bank for I think 2 years, just under 2 years, and now you have online banking,
right?
And we would have elderly people come in because we had an account that we sold. Yes, banks sell things. We had an account that we sold, and it was free if they had online banking and got like an online statement.
Okay, yeah.
And so I would communicate that to them, and they would be like, they wouldn't know what it is. They wouldn't know how to operate it. And they could still get paper statements, which they always wanted. So I would help them set up the online banking, which they would never use for the rest of their life. But it's one of those things of what is that like to be on the outside of technology? Do you think it's a choice?
Well, to be clear, I've never used online banking.
But you also know how to use the internet. Like,
I do,
really
but
well.
I still don't use it. I still always go and deposit my check at the bank.
You gotta keep some things old fashioned.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a people person.
Yeah, you are a people person.
Yeah. Not really. What was the question again?
It was. Do you think sometimes it's a choice, or do you think it's just a product? Because things change so rapidly.
I think it's a choice until it can't be a choice anymore.
It gets so far along. If you made the choice to not engage for so long that now you're so far behind.
No. Well, no. I think it's a choice until you not choosing to have it really negatively affects how you live.
Okay.
So people choose because they just don't want to be that way. You know,
right.
they like, and I'm more so. I lean more so to that.
Like you not using social media. You don't want to use social media.
Yeah,
you have no interest in it.
That's most because I don't want to like look at other people's lives and talk to them. It's not just to be disconnected. I really don't care.
Right.
But there are other things of like I don't watch TV very much. I watch stuff, you know, but I'm not watching stuff all the time. I'm not connected to political stuff going on all the time when that's so important apparently. But at some point things could start happening where it's important to know what's going on every day. It's important to actually be connected that way because that's how you actually function. That's how you live.
Yeah.
That's how you get things done. Nobody will ever respond to you in a way other than that way maybe at a time. And if you don't know how to do that, at least with balance or with an understanding of it, because how you're using it, again, in a utilitarian way, it can be damaging. Like the little jobs you do,
right.
You have to be able to do certain things with technology to get those,
right? And
even to progress in it. And if
right.
you don't have it, what do you do now? Go place house to house asking people, hey, can I?
Hey, you need
make
a
up
logo?
some stuff for you? Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like
yeah.
It's so much easier And if you weren't able, and if that's something you did, if you had trained, let's say you had trained in doing that for years and doing it, and now the way it's all gone online, like it's like, oh, well, I've got to know how to connect with people.
Yeah.
Or else this hurts not only what I do, but maybe even what I want to do.
Right.
And I can't even be the person that I feel like I want to be.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That negatively impacts
I think
you.
It goes back to kind of the underlying theme of like this whole topic that I didn't see us necessarily going into was of finding there's always a healthy side to things and an unhealthy side to things. Yeah. And it's finding that place where you can use those things, in this case technology, to your benefit, but also recognizing...
I think it's about who has control or what has control.
Yeah, it's recognizing for yourself at what point does it become a detriment to you, because that's going to be different for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's that's what it is. It is an individual thing that you have to figure out.
Like if you control AI, super positive, but as soon as it controls you, super negative.
That's right. Just ask Will Smith.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to stop. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
First podcast.
Being the first one and knowing nothing about it and not even introducing what we're doing to people very well.
Yeah.
Probably super disorganized, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you listened. Thank you if you did. If you listened all the way through.
2 of you.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably listen to it.
Yeah. Well,
if you listen to it.
Two and a half. Because if Azrael listens to it, you're a 4-year-old.
He's still technically a full human.
Yeah, that's true. He's half the size right now.
Well, not half the size of a 4-year-old, or,
half the size of an adult. Yeah, you're right. He's not half the size of a 4-year-old. He's really strong. No, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for bearing with us. As it may have seemed like it was all over the place until we kind of hit our stride. It'll
always be like that.
Yeah, it will always be like that. Yeah.
And maybe we'll better introduce ourselves next time.
No, that was good, man.
Okay.
That was good. No, we'll have something different. We'll learn as we go. But yeah, thanks for listening. We enjoyed it. We'll have a new podcast. I'm not gonna like do a definite and say that we'll have one like this time, but we'll do one every week for sure.
Yeah, we'll want to do one every week for sure.
Yeah, the goal is to have one out every week.
Who knows?
Yeah,
this might be the only one. Who knows?
Yeah, it won't be the only one. It just might be the only one we put out. All right. Anyway, thank you guys. All right. Have a fun life.
Yeah. Love you guys.